Welcome to tutorial 3B. Now we get into the business of recording. You know the template already. Now I will import the MOV file we're going to use for this recording. You will be doing those recordings either down at the sound studio, because there's the whole infrastructure and you can use the high quality microphones, preamps, and especially the acoustic treated room. So the HSLU students will use the facilities here at school to record these Foleys and voices, whatever, for the tutorials. All the others, you can download the assets in tutorial 3. There's a folder on the Google Drive. You see a microphone behind me. That's a condenser, large diaphragm studio microphone, a very quiet one. It's a Neumann TLM 103, and it's one of the most quiet microphones available on the market. It's a workhorse here at school. I have it for 11 years now, so many recordings were done with this microphone, and it really sounds very good. And the big advantage is you can really do very quiet sounds. So like the rubbing of the skin of your hands will be recorded perfectly. Of course, right now it's not running yet because the audio interface is not connected yet. I'm going to show this again, but that's the big advantage of having a good microphone, a good studio microphone, is having a low noise floor, which allows to record very low sounds, low in volume, to be recorded without any noise. So that's what I'm going to show now. First, I would like to import the movie file. Of course, we're going to import it to 1 hour. So should be in here somewhere. If it's downloaded already, resources 3, there it is. So that's my movie file, tutorial 3, Rain Beer. It's again a work from a student from a few years ago. That's the wrong track. It needs to go up here. We watch it first. This Rain Beer walking by in a snowstorm. That's the assets you also find in here. You find 2 ambient sounds, and in case you don't have the option to record on your own, use those 2 files. They contain snow steps, and you can do the exercise with these snow steps. All the others, for now, we first need to check for our audio interface we would like to connect. Connects via USB, so every USB compliant OS, including Linux, Windows, Mac OS X, also some OS like iOS is capable of handling a sound interface like this. Connects via a big USB port. So if you don't have one already, there's one down at the studio, or there's even 2. So you can connect it like this, and then go into your laptop. Then we have connections here. What connection do we need? We need a input. That's the XLR inputs. We have 2 of them, so 2 inputs, 2 microphones can be recorded at the same time. So what I could also do is place one microphone very close to the sound source, the other one further away. That's an option you have. So All these microphones, studio microphones, also work on XLR. That's how the plug looks like. It's an XLR with 3 pins, 3-pin XLR. I branch it. And the audio interface also consists of 2 preamps. The preamps preamplify my microphone signal onto line level, which is used in my DAW, so reproduces line level audio. And there is 2 knobs on which I do the level I'm recording to. What you will realize now when I go closer to the microphone that the level rises here. So I'm talking in the same voice and I'm going to be louder. And that's an important fact. As closer as you get to the microphone, as closer gets the characteristic of the recording. Don't go too close unless you want to do some ASMR recordings. Then you can try it out. But for natural sounding recordings on films, I suggest having a distance of 25 centimeters at least. Can also be 30, 35, 40. If you go closer, you're really close. If you go close, it should reflect your image. The one we have just been watching and where we will record the snow steps for, of course, you don't have to go that close. So place it around 30 centimeters away from you. Of course, you need to branch a headphone. So a headphone, there's 2 headphone outputs, meaning you can branch a small mini jack and a 6.3 millimeter big jack. Depending on the adapter or the headphone you have, you choose either one or the other. That's where you branch your headphone, and then you have an headphone output. That's the phone output, and the phone output lets you hear either the direct signal. That's this knob here. When you turn the knob to the left, counterclock, then you only hear the sound of the USB pre. Because imagine through the USB connection, the sound device's USB pre signal is digitized, goes into my Reaper software, comes back from the playback engine of the USB pre, comes in here again gets analog converted, and then it comes out of the headphone. This would be the case when I choose PC. Then I'm on PC mode, meaning I listen behind the recording what I've been recording. That's usually how I do it. But sometimes the latency is too big. What you can try is to set your latency to a lower level here. For example, 128. So my next step would be to check whether my source, my incoming source, is available here. So I'm gonna go down here where I want to record the Foley, and I set it to rec arm, and now my input is here, but I don't see any level. Why? Because I first need to go into my audio devices and search for my USB pre. Okay. And now I should be able to have either front left or front right. That's channel 1 and channel 2. I know I've inserted my microphone in input 2, so now I get my level. And now what I first do is a check how loud my signal will be. A bit too close. So if I do a rather delicate beer, it goes up to -30. If I do a heavy beer, it goes up to -6. Looks like it's fine. Otherwise, adjust the level on the knob and you're good. Okay, now I will try to record those footsteps in sync. But first, I want to tell you one thing about the microphone. The microphone has a characteristic which records the basic level in an angle of 130 degrees. Meaning at those points on the left and right corner, it records -6 dB, so 6 decibels less, so half the level. And this means for you, I always should point with my sound source directly on axis into the middle of the diaphragm. I'll show you, because in the back I have the least level coming in. I do the same sound with full sound. And I think I'm gonna record this so I can also place it under the so I can also play this back. So I'm gonna do a recording here. First recording. Let's see. So that's full full on axis, and now full off axis. Compare the two and you will realize what happens. It gets less direct, the sound is more off, and it has less level. What do I have in my hands here? It's starch, so it's a thing for cooking. It's a bit like flour, and it's in a fabric which doesn't make any sound itself. And that's how we record Snow Steps Foleys in the studio. And now I go in here and I write down full snow steps. Okay, this is it. Track is still rec ready. And I'm going to my film file now. What I don't like is I think those tracks should be closer to my video. Okay, there's my video. I do a pre-roll of about 2 seconds, so I know, okay, after 2 seconds it starts. Of course, I don't want to have a time selection here. So I escape, I push escape to deselect the time selection. And now I'm ready to record my Foley footsteps, snow steps. Okay, that's my recording, and you see the new file name. That's a good habit to always name your files, because otherwise you're gonna have in the end Fol 1 to 130, and you don't know what files you have in your audio folder. So always do this. It also allows us to put every good sound in our sound library, which is huge, which has tons and tons of Foleys inside from the past 10 years recording with our Foley artist from Cologne. So that's one of our biggest treasures in sound we have here at school. Okay, so I didn't hit I didn't hit it quite well. So what I'm gonna do now is I duplicate. I think it's, what is it? Shift D. Duplicate this Foley track, and I pull it down because I want to have it in sync. Huh? I don't want to move this. Don't move it, because it was quite well, but the beginning of the recording was not that well. So mute the track, and you're ready to go again. I want to watch it quickly. Tuck, 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 tuck. That's about the rhythm, huh? So one more recording. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Now the walk cycle is not 100% on frame accurate, which I like. I like when it has a little movement in it in the walk cycle. I would love to do one more recording, or let's say two more recordings. One is a sound for the upper body part, so the I would love to do a recording for this as well. So let's do it. So that's more of a constant sound. Of course, now I forgot the renaming. So I go into Item Properties, Rename File, and this is Snow Body Move, something like this, huh? Okay. This is it. And what you could also think of is maybe record a sound for something like this, like a beer or something. So I deselect this track for recording, and I go down to my Vox, and that's my beer Vox. Rec ready, and front right. You might need to choose front left because it depends where the microphone is connected to. Okay, so when I do my beer sound, the thing about voice recording is you get a lot of plosives. So when you hold your hand in front of your mouth and you do a P or a T, you realize there's an airflow coming out of your mouth, and when this airflow comes on the microphone, it will produce a so like a bassy wind sound. We don't want that. Sometimes in sound design we might want it, but usually we don't need it, especially in voice recordings. We try to avoid it, and we can do this by using a pop filter. So what I'm gonna mount now is the pop filter. Check my levels. I think I have enough level. Okay, let's see. One more recording for the beer box, and we're done. One last thing about having noise on the recording. What you hear now on those recordings, when you listen back to them, or you listen back to your own recordings, you might hear a little bit of your computer. So be sure to have your notebook maybe 1 or 2 meters away when you're recording. The more, the better. And here in this studio, I can show you the whole setting. And you see there's a big Mac over there, and this one is quite heavily working to record all this, and that's the main sound you hear in this recording. Okay, so this is it for this tutorial. Thanks a lot for watching, and we see each other in the next tutorial.